Welcome to the Check Swing Podcast, y'all, with myself and, of course, the star of the show, the brains behind all the magic that goes on here, my man, Mr. Coach Santa. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Glad you asked. Of course, we have a special guest coming up today in just a couple minutes, Mr. Rob Battle, Drexel Hall of Famer, champion, all types of accolades. So we're gonna get to that. A teammate of Miguel's back in the day. Like we got a lot of stuff. We were talking to him for like a half hour before the show started. He probably tired of talking to us, but we got him a contract. Actually, we don't have a contract. We're not that big. We got him. He's ready to talk to us. But Miguel, of course, I always ask how you been. It's been a couple weeks. I had to go out of town last week. How you been, brother?
Been well. Enjoying the weather. It's doing well on my skin. Um, I had to take the winter beard off for slimming purposes. Working on my summer bod, all that good stuff.
I got you. Well, look, if you're checking in with us, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Nutrus Radio. You can check out all our shows that we do there here on the Check Swing Podcast, the 10-7 show, Intelligent Ignorance, all the shows that we do. You can check them out there. But what I want to do without further ado is I want to bring our guest in because he is chomping at the bit, and there's so many questions I want to ask him, so many things that you know I want to get into that I know we're not going to have time to get into everything I want to talk about, but we're going to bring him in anyway. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Miguel's homie. He grew up with him, he went to high school with him. I'm stalling while I'm trying to look for this effect. I can't find right now. Drexel Hall of Famer, Mr. Rob Battle is in the building. Here he comes right now. Yes, we have Rob Battle, Drexel Hall of Famer, class of 99, Northeast High School. So if any of y'all out there played against Northeast High School and graduated in 99, you saw that man right there. Mr. Battle, how are you, brother? How are you?
I am doing great, man. I'm blessed and happy to be here. I have to say, Santa, that Drexel jersey fitting your summer vibe real nice.
You like that? You like that?
Yes, I'm loving it.
Miguel's on some Suns Out, Guns Out type of stuff. So let me turn this up a little bit. Suns Out, Guns Out. We have Mr. Rob Battle, Drexel Hall of Famer, on the show today. And when I was going through some of your information, I just have to. I'm going to thank you for one, and you don't know what I'm going to thank you for. And you may not even understand the thank you even after I explain it, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. Uh-oh. I'm going to thank you for not choosing North Carolina A&T.
I forgot about that.
I want to thank you for that because I am alum of University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and I would have hated to have to see you come up to Princess Anne, Maryland every year and just work out on our boys up there. So thank you for not choosing North Carolina A&T.
And for the record, for those watching, that's equivalent to him choosing Northeast over Central.
Ooh. 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 So okay.
How do you know that is a very interesting tidbit. I didn't tell you about that, did I?
It's in your bio.
It's in your bio.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, we did a little research. On you. Yes, it said you decided Drexel over North Carolina A&T, and I for one am glad you did. I'm just gonna put it out there. So in your bio, like I said, we're going go. Miguel, you want to go through it because I think you can probably say it better than I can, and you invited him on the show.
Standing at 6 feet 8 inches tall, 230 pounds. Mr. Battle's a power forward. You still playing, right?
No, man, I haven't played in 2 years.
Well, you still look in shape. I mean, you're riding bikes, so you probably
I'm a cyclist now, man.
Oh, really?
I'm on my Lance Armstrong without the PEDs.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might want to use a different example. Anyway, he's a 2-time Super 8 champion in Argentina, 1-time league champion in Argentina, Venezuela, Mexico, and Spain's Lev Oro. Battle's also a 6-time Argentinian All-Star, 2-time Import Player of the Year in Argentina, 1-time Player of the Year and MVP, and 1-time Finals MVP in Mexico. He attended Northeast High School. I was class of 157. He was class of 158, and usually the numbers before 8 are better. But we both attended the same school. We didn't play basketball together, but we were on the football team together. Where he our first night game that we played, he dropped the pass in the first half, but made up for it.
Come on, he's our guest, man.
He made up for it though. He caught a touchdown in the second half when we blew out. It was actually Martin Luther King, MLK, that we beat. Committed to Drexel on July 8th, 1999. Was a 1,000 point scorer, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time CAA first team selectee, and still holds a single season record in blocks with 116, and the single game record for blocks with 9 in his collegiate career at Drexel. He
Hold
averaged
on.
10.9 points and 6 rebounds per game.
Hold on. I missed that. Hold on. Let me find it real quick.
See, so
116 blocks in one season.
That is fact.
dude, he's
And I didn't
6'10".
even block. I didn't even block shots the first 8 games. I was nursing a sprained knee.
Yo, you only play like what 30 games in the college season?
I don't even think we got to play that many. You know, that's
116
big-time
blocks. That's
university.
insane.
No more.
You got the princess over there. She wants to be the star. The show is started, so she wants to be the star. She's like, look, it's my turn.
All she do is eat.
116 blocks in a single season. That's amazing. That's an incredible number. And you played under Bruiser Flint. I thought maybe Bruiser came a little after you, but no, you played under Bruiser Flint for a couple years. Let me ask you, I just because I just kind of saw that tidbit, how was it playing under Bruiser Flint? Because I covered a lot of Drexel games after I got into my career, TV wise. How was that playing under Bruiser Flint? Because Bruiser was there for a pretty long time.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I learned a lot. And then I got I earned the opportunity to play a lot of minutes those last 2 years, and was able to showcase what it was that I could bring to the table and to the university. So Brew is definitely a interesting individual. You know, Brew had to. I think coaches have to know that they're giving the best sound bites, man. Like when they say these things, they have to know that they're funny. I feel like they have to know that it's comedic relief. Some of the one-liners that they you know.
Can you remember any of the ones that he would give? Any of the one-liners he would put out there?
Well, I don't know. What kind of show is this?
Uh-oh.
It's somewhat of a family show. There's been some slippage.
Who was that?
You want to? I think we get if we're PG-13. I think out of the 7 forbidden words, I think you can say like 2 or 3 of them.
I'll say this. One of his famous quotes was, you know, I'll just say, I won't say the word, but I'll say sex is undefeated. Okay, you can insert whatever word pops to mind there.
Okay.
And then, you know, another one was, you know, stick with the known and leave the unknown alone. When you was doing some stuff that he didn't feel you were supposed to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. What else he had? Playing like a bunch of, you know, that was one. I had one coach that said, so this is one of the funny ones. He had to know everybody was going to laugh. So I was having a tough time adapting to college, just in terms of like the nutrition, like going to the calf every day. They was having the same food, and I just got tired of it, so I wasn't eating. So this is a couple of days before our first exhibition game. This is my freshman year exhibition game, and I ate the pregame meal, but once you had a day or two of malnutrition, you eating one good meal before the game is not going to cut it.
Right.
So, I played really hard. I couldn't score a basket. I couldn't make a basket. And so we're practice the next day, and he's giving the rundown, the take on the game. This is the coach before Bruiser, and he's like talking about effort and stuff. He's like, take battle for instance. He played real hard. He couldn't score in the whorehouse with a fistful of 50s, but he played, but he, you but he played hard though. He played hard. Like, who's not going to laugh at that?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I've definitely heard that one in different variants from
I
different
don't know.
people.
I think Steve Seymour was the first coach. He might have some better ones than some of Brews are slipping me, but I remember this guy. He told we had a guy, a kid transfer from Cecil Community College down in Maryland, Cecil
Mhm.
Junior College, whatever it was. He's still one of my good friends. He turned to be our point guard, and he's not making shots. He's practicing bad, right? And we're going to play in Jersey. He's from Jersey, so he says, "Where's?" He said, he called himself. They called him white chocolate down there. He's like, where's white chocolate now? How you got a Boston accent? He's from Boston. He's like, where's white chocolate? I go down to see, so I see you jumping down, dunking, where are you now, white chocolate? He said, when we go to Jersey and play in front of your friends and family, I don't want to see a brown streak running down your leg.
That's funny.
Oh God.
That's funny.
He told one kid, you're like a soft piece of soft piece of puppy on the kitchen floor.
Wow.
We need to upgrade our channel to the to allow such content.
Well, you can say it. You can say stuff. It's all good. It's 9:00. Kids should be in bed anyway. Actually, my daughter should be in bed. And I know she better get in bed. That's all I know. So, all right, you played basketball. Excuse me. You played basketball professionally in Venezuela, Argentina, Mexico, Spain. You won some championships. You won some MVPs. One award that stands out to me: Import Player of the Year in Argentina, and you won it 2 times. Explain what import. It's kind of obvious, but explain what an import player is, because it sounds like cargo. So what is that?
It's the best foreign player.
Best foreign player.
That's all that is. That you came from outside of the country. Best player that came from outside of the country.
I don't like that term import. They should have just said best foreign player, because that sounds better than import.
Yeah.
Because you sound like a beer. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
you're the best
a product.
Right. You sound best.
Now with that award, right? Import Player of the Year. Did they give that award to, or do you feel like there were times when they gave that award to, let's say they gave it to you, right? And it would almost, I don't know who your opponents were at the time when you were playing, but do you feel like did the Import Player of the Year ever win the MVP?
I think a few times. To be honest with you, at times I felt like it was a consolation that they weren't trying to give like the MVP to an American. Because my first championship there, I won 2 there. My first championship that year, I had one of the best years. My team was not a single day out of first place. I led the league in rebounds. I led the league in blocks. I was the best defensive player. So I went to the award ceremony. So I won the best center. I won first team, all league. The import player of the year. I'm on the number one. I've got my team in the number one position and number one seed all year long with the highest winning percentage. One of the highest winning percentages in history. But I'm not the MVP.
Yeah, that seems kind of crazy.
I'm trying to figure that. I'm trying to figure that out.
That seems
So
kind of crazy.
yeah, that's happened to me twice in my career. That happened once at Drexel, my junior year, and then that year they gave it to a guy, an Argentinian guy. He's a good player,
Mhm.
but he wasn't the. He didn't do what I did. I was the best player, the most dominant player, and I was on the best team. I had the best team. So
We're we're speaking with Robert Battle, Drexel Hall of Famer, champion, MVP, import player of the year. He dropped a pass in the football game and then made it up and caught the touchdown that won the game. I don't know if that's exactly how it went down, but that's how it's going to go down on this show. Only because Miguel said he brought it up. Um,
it was a blowout. we, we won 30 to
it's,
nothing.
it was still the game-winning touchdown. Still the game-winning touchdown. Uh, Speaking of Robert Battle, and of course we appreciate you being on. Let's talk about basketball. Obviously, I was just talking to a friend of mine earlier today, who had some experience overseas and things of that nature. Let's talk about how the adjustment of playing in a foreign country as opposed to playing in at the United States, but of course Philadelphia, because you played high school ball in Philly, played college ball in Philly. Um, what was your first stop overseas, and how did you adjust to the language, the culture, the type of style of play? How did you adjust to it, and how difficult was it?
I think my adjustment was pretty uh, smooth. For some reason, so my first team was in France. Okay,
Okay.
I went there, and here's the great thing about that. I don't know if you remember Miguel, but I took French in high school.
I do
So
remember that.
I took French three. I did three classes of French. I went from French one to French three in high school, and then when I went to Drexel, I took two classes of French. So it was like a perfect match when I went to France. I'm like, awesome. And even then, we had four foreigners, two Americans. One guy was from Croatia, other guy was from Yugoslavia, and they had all four of us in French class in French lessons as well. So that was interesting because we're in there and they're like, "Hi, my name is, and I am a basketball player," and I'm like, "Bro, you're like, is there any way I can get some extra work? Because this is nursery to me. Like, bro, I had this, in 1995. Like,
Right.
um, but the funny thing about it is, I didn't struggle with like missing. I was never like a homesick person.
Mm.
Um, the language was good because I had it, so I was pretty much speaking almost fluently for when I got adapted there. Uh, One of the big adaptations was I didn't know about the siesta, like the break.
You didn't know about
So
what?
so midday, even in France or whatever we call it, they call it siesta, in
Oh, a
Spanish
siesta.
speaking
Oh,
country.
okay.
Yeah. So I'm there ready to play my first game. I take my nap because you do what you know. And in the
Mm-hmm.
states, it's like, oh, you rest and you eat 4 hours before the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my time clock. I'm like, okay, game's at I don't know 7. I need to eat at I need to eat at 3. But that falls into siesta time. Me not knowing I'm in a small city in France. Everything's shut down. I'm starving. I'm like,
Really?
I have to eat before the game. Long and behold, the only place that was open is the good old faithful. Y'all want to take a guess what that was?
McDonald's?
Chinese store, baby.
Oh, Chinese store before a basketball game. Oh boy.
I had Chinese food before the basketball game. Yeah, that's how I prepared for my first ever overseas game. Filled up on Chinese food before I played the game, and until I learned, okay, all right, I need to go grab my food, at normal lunchtime, grab an extra meal, for before the games. Um, it was different. The breakfast was different. Like the semi hard boiled egg, and they like break the top open and then eat it. I'm like, what is that?
Oh wow.
Where's the scrambled eggs? And the in the cold lunch meat and that's their breakfast and coffee. Um, so a funny thing, I had a McDonald's right across the street, but even McDonald's shut down during that time.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was the biggest adjustment. But the first year was rough. What a lot of people don't know is that my first year I was only in France for a month and a half. They cut me
Mm.
after, and I think they did some switcheroo with the contract because I signed a contract for a season. I got there, typically they send you a contract, you sign it, they send it back, but you got to sign another one when you get there. I'm just assuming that the contract's the same. I talked to my agent, he's like, yeah, sign it. We played 3 preseason games. We win them all. I played well. And they called me in and they're like, well, your trial period is over. I'm like, trial period? What? You
Mm.
know, but we want to extend it because we want to see how you play against one of the good teams in our league. This was second division France. I said, no problem. I'm always going to bet on myself. No problem. We play that game. I dropped 30 and we win. So now we're 4-0 in the preseason. They called me in the office the next day. Coach is an American guy. Still remember, white dude by the name of Jerry Martin. Called me in the office the next day and cut me. Said
After
that
dropping 30.
after dropping 30, he said that I don't think that you can guard the bigs in this league. I said, guard? Bro, if he would have said anything else, maybe if he would have said, hey, I don't think you can score 30 every game, I would have taken that. But defense, bro. Defense.
Mm.
The 2-time defensive player of the year. I just had 116 blocks last year. Defense, I can't guard. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
So they released me. I went to Turkey. Was the second stop. Played really well there. We lost one game. A game where I had like 19 points, 18 rebounds, and we lost. One game. They cut me. So I was cut twice my first year. I went to another team in Turkish second division. Finished out there by March. I was home working at Citizens Bank Park at McFadden's as security.
Wow.
What was
So
what
that's
was
what I
the
was doing
what was the reason Turkey cut you?
because we lost.
Because you lost the game.
Yep. That team was like they were going to move up to the first division regardless. Like when I got there, I was watching a game that was in progress. They had a game. They beat the team by 60. And I wasn't even on the court yet. That was all the national players. So
Mm.
I guess in their mind, they just wasn't expecting to lose any games at all. I don't know.
So is that how
And a lot of times, those teams over there are run like the presidents are people who don't know anything about basketball. It's all
Mm.
soccer over there. They're like soccer fans,
Right.
but they're trying to run a basketball team.
Now, let me ask you a question because I think I know what you're saying, but I would like it explained just in case I'm way off, and I would actually like it explained so I can understand it completely. You were saying division, like a division 1, division 2, or something like moving up. I know in soccer, like when the team does well, they move up in the division. Is that like the same thing with basketball over there?
Yep, same thing. So typically, the top two teams in the second division move up to the first, and then the bottom two in the first division drop.
Ah, okay,
So
okay.
that's how that goes.
Is there any like probationary period, like if the team is bad for like X amount of years, or is it just we're rotating the bottom two teams just drop out automatically every year?
Automatically,
Wow.
automatically, and so what so what started to happen? Spain finally changed it. I won the championship there in Spain, the Leb Oro. That took my team to ACB, the first division. But a lot of teams, one of the teams kept complaining because this one team would always win, like be come in first place at the end of the season, but then go to like the playoff and never win and never make it up to the first division. So luckily, the year I was there, they changed the rule. So whoever, because typically what would happen is when they play the playoff, those two teams that make it to the championship, the game was like irrelevant because they're already moving up
Hmm.
because it's the top two teams.
Right.
So
Right.
in order to make that competitive, what they did was whichever team wins the league comes in first place at the end of the season automatically goes up, and then you take those next eight teams and put them in the playoffs, and whoever wins that is the second team that goes up.
Wow.
Could
So
you imagine
that's
that?
how they do that.
I was
Could you imagine in the NBA if they were like, you guys are going to drop down, like, cause it's a whole different world. Like it's really in the NBA. Like if you're not one of the top 16 teams, you don't have much to play for, right? You could be the last team, you get the draft pick, whatever, whatever. But actually, like if you're towards the bottom, you still have something to play for because you don't want to drop down, right? Like dropping down is that.
Exactly. So that's very important. So there's so on both spectrums, if you have the teams that are in second division, right? It's getting
Mhm.
later in the year. They'll sometimes bring in some big hitters to make sure they move up. And then you got those teams that are near the bottom of the first division. They're bringing in big hitters to ensure that they don't go down.
Mm.
So they'll be like, oh well, we'll spend this 20 stacks on this one guy just for this month if he can help us stay in the first division. So
Is
really,
there
when you
is there a
first
lot of
when
that?
you yeah, when you first make it to the first division from second division, that first year you don't really have expectations. The only expectation is to not go back down. That's
Okay.
it, and that's the celebration. They're like, okay, we made it to the first division. Now we need to be good enough not to be in the bottom two and not to drop down out of the first division because it's hard to get back up.
Really?
It's hard, and then sometimes you can't even afford to go up. Some teams have won and just couldn't afford to be in the first division. So they sell their spots. And sometimes that team who was in the first division dropping down would just buy that spot back.
Oh wow.
They would pay them for that spot.
wow.
It's a whole different system.
Hmm.
I
I
would
guess.
love. I would love that here.
One of the best teams, their history anyway. One of the best teams in recent history in Argentina. That's how they got their spot. They didn't even earn their spot. So the team San Lorenzo, if you look them up in Argentina, they won like four championships in a row. They paid. They didn't win the second division, but one of those teams couldn't afford to stay in first, and they bought their spot. And then they had so much money, they started buying the best players. I was on that list, but I had just won a championship, and I didn't see any reason to leave my team to go
Mhm.
to a unknown situation. Even though the coach of that team was my former coach, who I won my first championship with. I just sometimes when you get in those situations when teams are just like throwing money at things, you just never know how it's going to work out. Let's say we don't start off well. Are they going to start getting herky jerky with the money? You know, I knew my situation. They loved me there. We won a championship. They was giving me the contract I wanted. They gave me a multi-year deal. I was like, all right, I'm good here. My point guard left and went on to win 4 straight championships. So
Oh wow.
it is what it is.
Uh, let me. I got two questions for you because I don't want to forget to ask you either one of them. Because so my first question is, you say the top two teams, and let's say the one division will move up. Is it do they have a championship in that division, and your champion and your runner up move up? Is that what it is? That who's moving up? Your champion and your runner
Yes.
up?
Yes.
Okay. Um, moving up and down the division, is there a dollar amount connected to that? Like, do you earn more money? Does the team earn more money being in a higher division?
They'll pay more money. Over there is not. They don't really earn money on it. Let's be honest. They're
Really?
not really filling the seats. For example, in Argentina,
Mm,
it's hard to. They're not really making a ton of money off of people like going to games and like jersey sales and all of this stuff.
okay.
They make some, but I don't think it's something where like I've been there so many years. Like I would go back and be like, oh, I want to be a team owner. Like I'm not I'm not gonna set up retirement off that. Um, but typically you are capable of getting more money, more sponsors, things like that.
Is that where the money comes from to fund those
Yeah,
teams?
yeah. A lot of times that's where the money comes from. The only country I know for certain that has to have like money in the bank, they have to show the money in the bank, and that's why you're like guaranteed to get your money is France. So like if you say I'm going to fill the team with $1 million, they have to see $1 million in the bank before you start signing players.
Mm,
But other
wow.
places like Spain, the reason why a lot of times it could have money issues or teams are late with money or you don't get paid. Like I'll throw the number out there. Spain has owed me over. There's like overs of like $70,000 that I didn't get from Spain.
Like currently, right now, they owe
Current,
you.
I've never got that. I'm never going to see that.
Wow. Wow.
So what happens is they go off of sponsors. Sponsors say, "Hey, you know what? Um, I'll give you 300,000 euros to field your team." Then another sponsor will say, "Oh, I'll give you 100,000 euros, and I'll give you this, I'll give you that." But what happens when the sponsor doesn't come up with the money?
Mm,
Now that's when, oh, we're not, we don't have it yet, or we're still waiting on sponsor. We played the first few months in the top league in ACB, the first division, Spain, with no sponsor.
Wow.
wow. Wow. It's a
And
whole different world. Like overseas basketball as a whole, because we're so used to what we hear on ESPN or at, Fox Sports or whatever the case may be. We're so used to hearing the business or on your local radio from that vantage point, and it seems like everything is so solid. And then to hear
yeah,
what you're talking about here, and we just assume that it's just solid everywhere. And to hear what you're saying now is like you
yeah,
guys are really like battling for not only just for playing time and for spots and stuff like that, but you're battling to get your money.
yeah. We don't have any protection. There's no players union for us now. National
Mm.
players have a union, but we don't have any protection.
Not even
We're
not
we're
even
not
not,
guaranteed.
not even in the A League. In the
No,
A, no,
we don't have any.
wow.
We don't have any protection. I am old. I did the math one time. I probably didn't get about $120,000 or so
Can you
over
ever
my
get
over
it?
my 18-year career. No, I'm never going to see that.
You're never going to see it.
I'm never going to see that.
Wow, that's Damn, that's
So
something.
a lot of people are like, "Oh, you over there?" They think it's a vacation. They think it's they think it's sweet. Um, you may hear a lot of people talk. There's a lot of guys come here and be like, "Oh, yeah, I make this, I make that." They're not making a lot. Like, even I was only getting $3,000 a month my first year. My last month in Turkey, they owed me 3,000. I never got that, and then they tried to lure me back with my own 3,000. Oh, if you come back, we give you 3,000. No, you owe me
We'll
that.
give you the money
Oh.
we owe you. Wow, that. So let me ask you this, Rob, and we're talking with Rob Battle, Drexel Hall of Famer, multi time champion, MVP, 2-time import player of the year. There was a time, I want to say, let's call it between like 2005 and 2015, where there was a lot of talk about NBA players going to play overseas, like leaving the NBA. And there were a couple that did it. One that comes to mind is Josh Childress. Um,
Mm.
if when and if you were hearing about that as a player that was playing overseas, were you thinking like y'all crazy, knowing what you know, like what you just things you just told us, or do you think that there was an advantage for NBA players to play overseas?
No, not at all. They couldn't last. They couldn't last. Um,
Mm.
the only thing that's equivalent, and the reason why you see a lot of them go there is like going to Asia and China because they're giving you the best of the best of the best. They're giving you crazy bonuses. They're giving you crazy money. They got the money. They got the facilities and all of that stuff over there. But if you go anywhere else, Europe, you see Allen Iverson tried to do it in Turkey. How long he last?
Yeah, he didn't. He wasn't there long.
Well,
You know,
Iverson's a bad example. He has a tendency not to show up sometimes.
okay, I'm trying to think of another. I've played against a few NBA guys that came through, and you're thinking like, oh, and I'm pretty sure they were thinking like, oh, I'm going to kill here, but they don't play well. A lot of them have come through Argentina, just don't do well. The guy Josh Powell that was with the Lakers, he got a
Mm-hmm.
ring. He came through there. Bernard Robinson, uh, Kevin Lyde came through
Wow,
there.
Kevin Lyde. Yeah, I remember
Um,
him.
a bunch of NBA players came through there, man. What's the guy? What's the guy name? Even Oberto came back and played there. Argentinian guy. Uh,
He played on the national team, didn't he?
yeah, yep,
Argentinian national team.
yep, yep. And but it's just a different game and the travel. You got to think NBA. You're on chartered flights.
Mm-hmm.
You come to Argentina. You play Thursday, Saturday game. You're riding 10 hours to the Thursday game. And then after you play the game on Thursday and you eat and you shower, you get on the bus that night to go to the next venue that could probably be another 10 hours away to play on Saturday.
Wow.
And then you riding another 8 hours home after the Saturday night game.
Now, when you're going,
And you sharing a bedroom and you're on a tiny bed.
see, you're telling us this, right? And we're hearing this, and it's like, wow, I can't believe it. But did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy, playing in these leagues and playing for these teams?
I did. I loved it, man. I did it for 18 years. You gotta love it. You do it that long, right?
Mm.
There's some folks that just couldn't last that long. For me, I just became one of them.
Mm.
I pretty much became a native. I'm an honorary Argentinian. Like I have a residency card there. Like I don't need to get a visa to go there.
Wow.
Like I
Okay.
don't need to have a visa. I show my residency papers. I speak the language. Spanish is my
Mm.
second language now. So I'm essentially just one of them. And that's how they see me. I try to adapt and become, and just be like wherever I am. I just want to create a situation and connection with the people that makes a situation where I could always go back to wherever I've been.
Mm,
And I think I've accomplished that. I don't think anybody would be like, "Oh, why is Robert Battle back here?" You know.
right.
So
I got you. I want to ask you a comparison question, Rob. You have guys that come from overseas and go into the NBA and have success. One that comes to mind right away is Luka Doncic. He's had some success. I mean, he hasn't won anything yet, but he's one of the top guys in the league. He's turned heads. People tune in to watch him play. When you see guys that maybe you play against or play with, do you ever look at them and say, he's got it? He can be a star in the league? Or is it always like when we see them drafted, we're like, who is that guy? And then they become a star.
mhm.
Is it a surprise? Is it as surprising to you as it is to us here that really only get to see them when they come to the NBA?
In the star comparison, yes.
Mm, okay.
I don't think you ever really see that. Maybe they've seen that in Luca. Like Luca was something special. He did that in the EuroLeague at like age 18,
Right.
right?
Right.
I actually got to play against Ricky Rubio when I was in Spain in the first division there. I think the hype around Ricky Rubio was that he was just at that level at like it was just so impressive that he was 14. I don't know if he was like if his skill level was just so above everybody else's when he got when things started to level out. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
he's a very good player. But I could look at players and say you could play in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that, but it all depended on the work that they put in. I played on a big guy, and then also you got to think they're always looking for that next foreign player. So I
Yeah.
was telling one kid on my team, a big fella, I was like, "Yo, they're looking for the next Argentine guy. Manu's on his way out,
Mm.
so they're looking for somebody." And then who came in? The kid Campasso, uh, that played at Denver. He's not there anymore, but he was like 2 seasons at Denver.
Okay.
Facundo Campasso,
Oh yeah.
tiny
Okay.
tiny point guard.
Uh-huh.
I love that kid. He's a freaking dog.
Mm.
He was a dog. He would embarrass our point guard.
Uh-oh. We lost him for a second. We're having a conversation with Drexel Hall of Fame basketball player Rob Bat. There
There
he
he
is.
is.
Hold on. I think he's ignoring the phone call. Talking with Rob Battle from Drexel University, multiple time basketball champion, multi-time MVP, 2-time import player of the year, dropping some knowledge on us about basketball overseas and some of the things that the players go through over there, how he adjusted to a lot of things. I wanted to ask him about certain players. He just dropped off. I wanted to ask him about certain players that came over. But wow, some of the information that he's given us, Miguel,
Yeah.
man, top notch, man. Some of the stuff that, like, I mean, how would I know? But I just never knew.
Yeah.
You just kind of see, and we got him back now, so I put him back in. You just kind of assume just being here and you seeing how how leagues operate over here, whether it be the Major League Baseball, the NFL, NBA, NHL, whatever the case may be, you see how they operate, and to see how he operates playing in different countries, and how the business side of it is. Dropping a lot of knowledge on us. And Rob is back. Can you hear us, Rob?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, cool. Sorry you had to decline that call or whatever it may have been.
Yeah.
We don't want to take
That's
up too
Mom
much of your
Dukes.
time. But, sorry about that.
What did he say? It was your agent?
His Mom Dukes. He don't
He
need
says
to call
Mom
me,
Dukes.
man. That's those days are over.
Well, he brings up a good question I wanted to ask you earlier, Rob. You were talking about how you went from France to, I believe it was Turkey was your next stop after France. Is it an agent that finds those opportunities for you? Like, how do you end up? How you go from France and like, all right, there's a team in Turkey I can play for, or a team in Spain, or whatever the case may be. How does that happen?
Yeah, so you work with an agent. Typically, if you're good enough, you're showing that promise. That senior year, you're nearing the close. The agents are going to start reaching out to you.
Okay.
I interviewed three agents, and I wound up choosing one, and that's the one I had for my first two seasons, first season and a half before I switched agents. And my longtime agent is actually an Argentinian guy. So
Mm.
after I finished in Turkey, that following year, I wound up signing in Mexico. He got me that job, and then I went from Mexico to Argentina. And after that, it was between Spain, Argentina, and sprinkle a little Venezuela in there, and Chile and Uruguay. And, that was pretty much the bulk of my career. But it was between Spain and Argentina.
It's funny you say that the agents start reaching out to you like senior year, right? Senior year of college.
Yeah.
Because at my senior year, playing baseball in college, I had, let me see, we had, I didn't have any agents reach out to me actually. Not one agent reached out to me at all. So what happens when no agents reach out to you, right? You become a coach. so, so I've been
Is
coaching.
that what we're doing, man? Is that what we're
Yeah,
doing?
I'm in my 16th season of coaching. So,
I had
yeah,
I had a girlfriend in my 1 year at college who said she wanted to be my agent, but I just wanted to sleep with her. Neither one worked out though, so that's why we're here.
well, that
You didn't
happens.
see you didn't see the vision she had for you, man.
I, I, there was a
You
vision. Yes,
could
there
you could
was.
have been you could have been Jalen Hurts in baseball, man.
Yeah, could have been. Could have been.
Jalen Hurts got paid. Shout
Yeah.
out to Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts got paid. Speaking of Jalen Hurts, let's talk about Jalen Hurts real quick. Signed a 5-year extension for 255 million. Can make it as much as 274 million in total. 110 fully guaranteed. Man, Jalen got paid, man. Shout out to him. I hope that he continues to be the person that he is and continues to strive to be the best quarterback he can be, because it seems like he's that guy that's really working towards his craft, working to be the best that he can be. Are you an Eagles fan, Rob?
I am an Eagles fan, and I'm very very happy for Jalen Hurts, man. I think he seems like a really good dude, and he put the work in, man. Those are the type of people I like, man. I,
Absolutely.
I like that. I would talk to my best friends like, "Oh, you got to give him a shot." I say, "Well, I like him. I want to see him do well." And that first season, I was like, he got to get more accurate at passes, man. His arm got to get stronger. I'm seeing a lot of short balls, and to his credit, he went in and put the work in, man, and he became one of the most accurate passers, and made it happen. He's actually percentages better inside the pocket. So
Yeah.
he earned it, man. He led us to a Super Bowl. I felt so bad for him, man. That play where he lost the handle on the ball, man. I felt horrible about
Yeah.
that.
I still think that the turning point was that false start right before. I think it was
Right before that play.
right before
Yeah,
that was the fall. The false start, I think, is what set that whole turn. Because before and after that, we were balling.
yeah.
Yeah.
They had a whole game plan to keep their hands out of Mahomes' hands. Letting the play clock run down, shortening the game. But yeah, that just hurt. I was like, why it had to be a scoop and score? Like, man, why couldn't we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
Yeah.
tackles
Yeah.
like the perfect bounce, man? Jeez.
Oh man, it felt
I'm
like it
like,
felt like we were playing the Cowboys. How that how the Cowboys always had that lucky bounce back in the '90s. They always had that. Never mind. You're gonna give me
You
my
gonna
anxiety's gonna go crazy
don't
if I
go.
start talking.
You're starting to turn pink. You're starting to turn pink. Calm down.
man, I
um.
tell you one thing that Santa didn't know. Yeah, I was a pretty darn good baseball player at one time before I got to high school.
Why didn't you try out?
Uh, I don't know, man. I don't know why. I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that for a while. Like, yo, why didn't I continue to play? I don't know. I guess I became a little bit of a sissy. Yo. I was like, oh, they're going to be throwing a lot harder. I
Wait a
don't know.
minute.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Wait. See, Justin, this proves my point about football players. Okay,
Uh-oh.
you remember how we had like two or three football players that they came on and they were like, oh well, I want to play the position where you hit all the home runs, and we're like, well, what position is that? They're like, the right side. It's okay, come on. And I think each one of them got hit. Remember when because Coach Justin didn't like when I would hit fungos against the guys because I light them up. And his argument
Well,
was
hold
like,
on. Let me stop you for a hot second. I didn't like it when you did it to the guys that didn't have experience because they would quit.
how are they gonna learn? That's the experience.
You didn't give them a chance to learn. You just lit them up. You hit them in the shins.
Listen, the whatever. Anyway, most of the football players would shy away because once they got hit, it would be like, you know, it'd be too intense. I'm like, you're going against like guys that are two or three times bigger than you, and you can handle that, but not a baseball.
Yeah.
I think that's everybody's story though. Like everybody was a aspiring football player. Those great basketball players. And yeah, I played basketball. I played football one time. I played quarterback. I got hit hard one time. That was my
That was
last
it.
day.
That was it. That was it. That was it.
That's a lot of people's story. That's a lot of people. Like, I got hit and I said, you know what, I'm
Yeah,
done.
but I actually loved baseball. I liked it, man. I was first base. I could really hit the ball. I don't know why I didn't play, man. I don't know why. I wish I did.
We could have used another person of color on the team.
I could have used a few more championships.
Man, yeah, those championships were they were fun. They were special. And like so you were a junior when we went to our championship against
Yeah.
Frankfurt my senior year, and that was a special season too. I just remember. I think we lost 2 games that year, and then we went to the Public League Championship and lost to Frankfurt, and then we were up at the half. Because I remember Dante on the 32 quick trap, me and Aaron Brown on the double team offensive line, and he ran a 32 quick trap like 60 yards for a score, and they were just too big. They had Eddie Gaskins, who I think at the time was the leading rusher.
Remember Eddie Gaskins?
All-time leading rusher in the state. Yeah, he surpassed Blair Thomas' record.
That's right.
Like that dude was a man. Like he was a man. I wasn't trying.
Eddie Gaskins was a bad boy in high school.
I was sad to hear that he didn't after high school. That was it.
He didn't play college ball.
He went all three of those guys. It was him, the guy Fred Sample, and the big linebacker Dan Owens.
Yeah.
Big Dan Owens was a 6'3" middle linebacker, 300 pounds.
He gave me my first concussion that championship game because I decided to chop block him. The first, bam! I still to this day I hear ringing on the left side of my head. It's like,
listen, I was about to join you. I mean, Steve almost got me decapitated in the end zone. Going across it. If I didn't slide underneath that, it was lights out. It would have been a big problem. But those dudes, man, come on, freaking Eddie Gaskins and
yeah,
that's what pushed me to play. Losing those 2 championships would push me to play volleyball. I was like, yo, I'm not leaving here without a championship.
I don't care if it's ping pong. We winning something, damn it.
Going win something.
I don't know if y'all familiar with the Temptations movie.
Oh yeah.
How they was narrating it, and they were talking about how David Ruffin was trying to convince Eddie Kendricks to leave the group.
Uh-huh.
And then they flash the light, and Eddie Kendrick's going. He was like, and just like that, David Ruffin's words finally hit home, and Eddie Kendrick's quit the group. That was Mr. Cush on me. And so his words finally hit home, and I joined the volleyball team.
Man.
Yeah,
Because I was like, man, I don't even play no volleyball, man. Volleyball for girls, bro. I'm not playing that.
But how many
And,
years did you play volleyball?
just my senior year.
Just your
Just
senior
because I
year?
lost the championship. I
Dang.
was running track in the spring the other year.
See, I didn't know you
I
ran
was doing
track.
track.
I never knew you
Yeah.
ran track.
Just for get in shape, man. Trying to keep. I mean, you seen my build, yo. I was doing the high jump. Can you imagine trying to get this frame over? Like, I wasn't no skinny dude. And then I did the 400, the death race. That was like
Jesus
that was
Christ.
400 is tough. Well, I used to love the 400. I only like the relay though. I didn't like it open.
Man, I think I ran a sub minute one time. I ran 59 seconds. I was so proud. Never ran again.
That is funny. That's a good one. We're talking Rob Battle, Drexel Hall of Famer, multi-time champion, multi-MVP, import player of the year 2 times. Giving us some good stories, giving us some good knowledge about the professional game and how it's played in other countries and stuff like that. We're getting ready to wrap things up. I wanted to, but Miguel, are you stumping me today?
Of course I am.
Okay, before we get to that, I do want to ask Rob about what he thinks about the Sixers and the NBA playoffs this year before we get to that. Sixers up 2-0 against the Nets. I'm not going to say what Miguel said in the notes, but against
you can't say that?
I don't want to say it. My mom might be watching. 2-0 against the Nets. How do you see the series playing out? How do you see the playoffs playing out?
Man, I have to be honest with you, man. I don't watch as much TV, but I believe that obviously the Sixers are going to pass this series easy. That 4-0 at the worst 4-1. They're going to win this series. I think just looking in the future, if they have to face either, which they will, Boston or Milwaukee, I don't know, man. 7-game series. Boston has always been that kryptonite.
Yes.
Especially if they're healthy and they have all of those big bodies that they can throw it.
And they do.
Embiid. Because the one game they didn't even have all that. It was just Blake Griffin and they still won.
Yep, the third game.
Yeah, big fella was out. So I don't know, man.
You think the Sixers blow it up if they don't finally make it to the finals?
They have to.
I think Harden's going.
Harden.
I think Harden's going if they don't make it. Harden might be if they don't win the championship. I think Harden might be going anyway. I think Maxey stays. I think they got to keep Embiid, and then they just try to put something around that whole situation. Like you got to keep those guys, right? I don't know.
See, I don't know, man. I have an unpopular opinion with Embiid, man. I don't know. I just he's just missing something for me, man. Like he's just not. He just don't get it done. I'm like one of those. It's the little things for me, man. Like I was very serious about my craft. I was pretty obsessive. So like I worked like I was along the lines of I understand where Kobe comes from. You know, when I read like Tim Grover's book Relentless, it validated me like, okay, I'm not crazy. There's other people like this. You know what I mean? So Embiid and the way he approaches things sometimes, man, I'm just like, dude, you're not a killer. You gotta get serious. And you gotta make things happen. You doing all this shooting 6 threes and all, like get down there and dominate and do it every night.
Yeah,
They
because he
telling me
can't.
the doctor said that he has to fall down to the floor. Like, are you kidding? What? Because if I remember, Shaq is a lot bigger than you. I ain't never
Mhm.
seen a doctor tell me he had to fall down to avoid the knee and all this other crap that they keep talking about. Like,
I think he set the NBA record. What the season we lost to Toronto in the playoffs. I think he set the NBA record for most stomach viruses in the playoff. Because
like it's just
he had like
it's just
six of
always
them.
something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
always
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 something.
something. And then like he
Always
has a
something.
knee injury or he's supposed to be hurt, and then he's up on stage dancing with Meek Mill. Like it just didn't start well, and it continues to do. Like you go there, you're crying after the series, but then you come back the next year overweight. What was you crying for then?
Right.
Obviously, it didn't hurt that much for you to straighten up. Why are we still talking about your you being in shape and all? Like this is
You know,
year what for
I
you?
need you to go down to Wells Fargo Center or Camden or wherever you got to go. I need you to I need you on that staff. I
All
need you
right,
on that
go. They
staff,
probably
bro.
don't. They probably don't tell them what needs to be said, and that's probably why they got rid of Jimmy Butler. Because
Mm.
Jimmy Butler was like, "Look, bro,
Should have kept
like
Jimmy.
look
either
at
you
Jimmy.
is or you ain't. Is
Right.
you is or is you ain't. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Are you him or you not him?
I'll leave it at this. Um, my pet peeve with Joel Embiid, outside of him shooting too many
It's the
threes,
chicken.
is the way that he defends the pick and roll. It bothers me. He's terrible at it,
Get out.
and I don't know why he hasn't
Get
gotten better
down.
at it in the last 3 years. That him defending the pick and roll is terrible, and I don't see why teams just don't run it every single time down court he's on the floor. But I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. All right, so it's time. So, Rob, I don't know if you've ever checked our show out before, but what this time towards the end of the show, Miguel usually puts up some jerseys, some jersey numbers of a team, and I'm supposed to guess who the guy is.
And
Okay,
and achievements.
and achievements. Okay,
Okay,
so right here we have. This is a basketball one, so I think I have a better shot than I do with
okay.
baseball.
So here's the funky thing about this. For some reason, on two of the teams, he wore two different numbers. Don't know why, but
So it looks like one is the Seattle Supersonics, where he
that's
wore
right.
two different numbers. Is the other one the Celtics?
That's the other one's the Celtics. Yes,
Okay. Did he also play for? It looks like maybe the Sixers,
yes.
Timberwolves.
Uh, I couldn't find that jersey, but the two ones are the two Detroit Pistons jerseys.
So the Sixers, Detroit, one-time All-Star, 94-95, most improved player. Damn. Seattle, the Sixers, Detroit, and Boston.
Baston.
Damn.
Great.
That's what I was going to say, Detlef Shrimp, but I don't think he ever played for the Sixers.
That left shrimp. Wasn't he on NBA
That's
Jam with it was him and Sean Kemp or something?
It was
That's the
him
only
and
number 11 Iron.
oh my goodness. You got a one-time All-Star and 94-95 most improved player. And it's got to be somebody that I know or you wouldn't have picked it, right? Maybe not. I don't know.
If you hear the name, you'd be like, oh,
94-95 most improved player. And he played for the Sixers. That red jersey is the
I
Sixers.
know who it is. I know who it is. I know who it is.
uh-oh.
I know who it is.
Justin, you want to try it first?
I got to ask some questions because
Of course you do.
give me the time span of the career.
90s.
Just the 90s?
A little bit of the 2000s.
I believe I'm right.
Seattle, Boston, the Sixers, and Detroit.
I think that Detroit is messing you up because I didn't
And
know.
I'm not going to go to the comments because that whoever they might have put the answer in there, so I'm not going to cheat. But I am 94-95 When did he play for the Sixers? Can you give me that?
I want to say he only played 2 seasons with the Sixers. So I want to say, I think it might have been,
I think I got it.
okay.
I think I got it. Matter of fact, I know I got it. Played for Boston. He played for Seattle. He played for Detroit. He played for the Sixers. It was a point guard. Did they call him the little big man? Did he set the record for the most 3-pointers made in the season while he was on the Sixers, or most threes consecutive games with a 3-pointer while he's playing for the Sixers? Is it Dana Barros?
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I got that.
Yes.
Yeah, when I saw the 3, the Sixers, I was like, yo, that's Dana Barros. Simon. Yeah, I was like, yo, Dana Barros.
Oh, let me see if the comments had it. Hold on. Oh, no, the comments didn't have it. The comments said Dennis the Goat Johnson. The comments didn't have it. Wow, Dana Barros. How about that? Matter of fact, I remember watching the game when Dana Barros set the record when he played for the Sixers. And it came down to the very last shot. And it was an inbound pass, and he had to jump to catch it and shoot it all at the same time, and he made the shot, and that was the one that set the record. I remember that. Yeah, 90s basketball, man. Listen, that was my life. 90s basketball. I'm trying to tell
I
you.
remember watching him with Clarence Witherspoon.
Yeah, Clarence Witherspoon, Andrew Lang,
and the project that was Sean Bradley.
Every time we went to the Sixers game, that was the best. He'll score and they go, Spoon!
Yep.
Oh, man.
Well, look, we're going to get out of here. I'm going to say thank you to the Hall of Famer Rob Battle for joining us and blessing us with your presence. Let me look into the camera. I'm looking at the screen. Let me look at the camera. I want to thank you for joining us and blessing us with your presence. Is there anything that you would like to say before we get up out of here, Mr. Battle?
Well, nothing, man. Just thank you guys for having me on, man. It was a ball. It was great catching up with my good friend, Miguel. We got to keep in contact. And, if anybody, for all your real estate needs, holler at your boy, man. Buy, sell, invest in real estate. Got you covered.
Oh, you
hear that?
You're a realtor.
International.
Ooh, okay.
So you got property in Argentina, Mexico, Venezuela?
So I can help you in all those countries, but that's one of the things I regret. I didn't know anything about real estate then. I would have bought something in Spain and Argentina. I would have bought something in Florida, but I still got a few things stateside.
I can dig it. Well, for y'all real estate needs, make sure you holler at Mr. Rob Battle, Drexel Hall of Fame. And congratulations on your induction to the Drexel Hall of Fame. Well deserved. 116 blocks in one season.
You can't get over that.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot. Like, you made a lot of people mad.
I was trying to keep up with Emeka Okafor, man.
Oh yeah, he was around that same time. You're right.
Yeah.
Emeka Okafor, you was better.
I had blocks. I'm like, I had 6 blocks. Yeah, Emeka Okafor had 8. I'm like, God damn it, why did y'all keep letting them pump fake? Like, what y'all doing? Y'all just throwing it into his hand?
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It felt like people just wanted to challenge him all the time, and he just. I'm just going to say it right now. You worked harder for your blocks than he did for his. I'm just going to say it like that. And I hope you appreciate that comment. That's what I'm going to say. You worked harder than he did. All right.
Appreciate that.
All right, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all checking out the Check Swing Podcast with special guest, Mr. Rob Battle, Hall of Famer. And, if you missed any portion of the show, want to check out the show again, make sure you check out the YouTube channel. Go over to youtube.com/NewTwistRadio and check out all our shows over there. And make sure you subscribe. And, of course, you can share it with all your people. Share it with your family, your friends, and your enemies because they want to see it too. And for Miguel and myself and Mr. Rob Battle, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us. We'll check y'all next time here on the Check Swing Podcast. Talk to y'all. Peace.